Welcome to another installment of our Audio University online mixing essentials tutorials on compression. Today, I'm going to be discussing the kick drum and how I might apply compression to a kick drum. Specifically, I want to talk about setting attack and release times and how I might use a compressor to shape the tone of a kick drum. In this session, I've got just one track we're going to be listening to, which is the kick in mic. Let's give it a listen. In our previous session on EQ, I discussed how I used this frequency curve to enhance the sound of the kick drum. I'm going to bypass that so we can hear the difference of the signal without the EQ versus with the EQ. Without it. With it. What I'd like to point out is that we used an EQ in our previous session to enhance the low frequency content and to make the articulation of the kick drum a little stronger while reducing some of the frequencies that were shadowing the upper mid-range closer to around 200 Hertz. We call this the mud range. Today, when we install a compressor behind this signal, we're going to be changing the envelope and introducing harmonic distortion to that signal. When I think about what I want to change about this signal, I have to be very careful. If I were looking at the frequency response as drawn on the waveforms of our edit window, you'll see very fast transients followed by some pretty quiet resonances. Of course, this is what the waveform looks like before the EQ, not after. If I wanted to do that, if I wanted to see what it looks like, I would have to commit the audio up to this level, which I'm going to do right now. As I do this, what I'm going to see is a change in the waveform that will actually represent what's different now that I have made the EQ rendered. What we see now is that before, the body of the kick drum, which was a little bit weak, has been made a little bit stronger. But we still have these very strong transients, followed by some relatively quiet resonance of the kick drum. What I'd like to do is use a compressor to tame the transients and make these sections here after the transient a little bit louder. If I use my cursor tool to select just this amount of time that is my transient for this kick drum hit, I can look up and see that it's about 1 millisecond of time here from start to end, a difference of 0.096 milliseconds, or a tenth of a millisecond, I should say. So when I set up my compressor, what I want to be very careful of is that I'm not making the time too long. If I make the attack time too long, I'll end up setting up a compressor that's too slow to be able to react to the signal. And that means I'll end up compressing what's happening on the back end of my signal, this later part, which is the body and the resonance and the decay of the tone of the envelope of the signal. That wouldn't be good at all, because what I really want to do is squash the transient, not the body. So I need to keep my attack times pretty quick. Lucky for me, this stock compressor that comes with Pro Tools is very quick. I'm going to set the attack time to 10 picoseconds. That's way fast enough to be able to get out in front of this transient. At the same time, I want to make sure that my release time is also very fast, because I want the compressor to be able to stop compressing relatively quick. I need to reduce the volume here. If I go with something strong like 6-to-1 compression, that's going to create many more harmonic, odd order harmonic elements in my signal than I think I really want. I like the way this sounds right now. It's warm, it's punchy, it's thick. If I start introducing too many odd order harmonics to the signal, it's going to change the timbre of the signal to be more crunchy, more gritty, maybe a little bit more aggressive, which is fine for some music, not in this case. So I'm going to set my attack time to be very fast, my release time to be very, very fast. I'm going to set my ratio to something a little bit more prudent, say 2-to-1. I'm going to be very judicious with my threshold. I want to make sure that the signal is just barely coming up over the threshold. Remember, the further down I bring the threshold, the more of the signal will be squared off. So I really don't want to be too aggressive with this, or else I might end up having it sound a little bit crunchy. Just to demonstrate what that sounds like, though, I am going to show you what it sounds like when we go a little too far. But let's start with just trying to find a good starting point. So I'm going to bypass this compressor. I'm going to select a little bit of signal here, and we're going to loop it. Now we have our kick drum soloed. I'm looking at the meter, and I'm seeing that the threshold, the way it's set right now, the needle just basically pops right over the edge of this threshold line just when the transients hit. I can also see that it rebounds back pretty fast. I'm going to up my threshold just a little bit more. And I'm going to slowly bring it down up until I start to see some orange flashes that come all the way down to close to about -3. More than that, and I'm going to start to really be introducing a lot of harmonic distortion. The other thing I need to be careful of is that there are some hits that are a little bit stronger than others. There's no consistency here. So maybe my goal is to make all the transients consistent and then work from there. So I'll bring down my threshold. To where all of my transients are basically getting hit a little bit. This will make sure that all of these tops are getting brought down. Now, I'm going to put in, take the bypass out, and we'll hear what that sounds like. Instantly, we can hear that squaring off of that waveform, that harmonic distortion. Too much. I'm going to give back a little bit. That's a little better, but I can still hear some crackle. Now I'll start to slow down the release time a little bit. Now I should be able to back my threshold in a little bit more without hearing as much of that distortion, because my compressor isn't acting as strong. It's not creating as sharp a square wave. That sounds better. Now if I bypass it, and with the compressor in, it's quieter. The transients aren't as loud. And if we listen very carefully, we might actually even be able to start to hear some of those harmonics creeping into the tone of the signal. I'm going to make this a little bit louder though. I'm going to use my makeup gain now to make the overall signal louder. That should help to bring out these resonance that I'm trying to bring out in my tone. But as I do, you'll also start to hear the harmonic distortion come out from the compressor. Without the compression, with it. In my description earlier, in my presentation, I discussed that we should think about compressors as time-based processors. What I think we can hear happening here is that we've gone from hearing a sound that is very short in its time, the transients, to hearing a sound that's actually quite long in its resonance. It takes a lot longer for the sound to go away. It's because I'm compressing the signal and I'm compressing the transients and I'm bringing up all the noise floor stuff that's happening later. So what's happening is, you could think of it as controlling dynamic range, but what I'm really doing is making the sound last longer, which is a time domain process, right? I'm making the sound last longer. Therefore, we're going to hear it a little bit clearer. It's going to sound louder to our ear. The other thing is I've introduced a lot of harmonic distortion, and we can hear that the kick drum has gone from being kind of low and punchy and ticky to being kind of loose and flappy. These are bad descriptive words, but they're the best we can do when we're talking about subjective, qualitative assessment here. I can measure their harmonics, but I can describe it as being different in some sort of way. That's not just the harmonics, but the quality of the sound. So we have to figure out a way to balance the issues here. We have, on the one hand, I'm succeeding at compressing and suppressing the transient of the signal. On the other hand, as I'm doing that, I'm also bringing up the harmonics in the back end of the signal, and that's not very good. So we have to find a way to kind of come to terms here. So I'm going to introduce a compromise. Perhaps what I want here is not as much compression. Maybe I can take 1.5 to 1 instead of 2 to 1. That should help. I can also soften my knee. By softening the knee, I'm making it so that I'm not squaring off the compressor. The compressor is not squaring off the waveform quite as aggressively. It's going to curve around that compression point, which should help to preserve some of those transients that had that sine wave type element to them, so that they're not suddenly becoming flat mesas. That should also help. So let's try introducing some knee, and we've backed off the ratio a little bit. That's much better. Without the compression. With it. Here we're hearing a little bit less of an aggressive harmonic tonality to the compression. Also, we're still hearing the compressor making the sound last longer, but that's because we're bringing up that back-end harmonics. So as I brought the ratio down, that's eased off some of the aggressive tone of the compressor. Now perhaps what I need to do is just pull back some of that gain to find that ultimate balance of transient to body and resonance. Without the compressor. With it. That's pretty nice. So I've actually taken that EQ and I've compressed the signal. And now I have this different presentation of the kick drum than we started with. Just to show you a little bit more of what I'm talking about, I'm going to render now the compression. Now we should be able to, once I do this, we should be able to see the changes in the compression in the waveform that we're looking at now. Because remember, this waveform is happening before we hit the insert path in Pro Tools. So I'm going to commit up to this insert. And now, yes, it's changed color, but I think we can also see that these peaks have been substantially dropped. They're not as aggressive as they once were. And the body, the thing that's happening behind them, it's a little louder. Now, let me do this. I'm going to take all three of these waveforms and put them side by side so we can see their change over time. Now I'm taking these 3 tracks. Let's make them a little bit bigger. And if we looked at just, say, our first kick, we can see how without EQ, the signal was a little bit weak. With the EQ rendered, we added a lot of harmonics to it by changing the harmonic content, the relative amplitude of frequencies. And then we can see in the purple how that envelope has changed shape to be overall a little bit more like a triangle all the way around. The compressor has shaped the dynamics of the signal by changing the envelope, and we also see a little bit of change in harmonic content as well. In terms of what's happening back here, there are more undulations that we can now hear in the waveform. So hopefully this helps you to understand how we might use a compressor to approach controlling dynamic range of a signal, but also mitigating the effects of harmonic distortion as we go.